Welcome to the Ideal Spaces Working Group podcast.
Yes, hello. Here is the Ideal Spaces Working Group with our series of podcasts. And I'm Ulrich Gehmann, and Grant Rainham is a member of our working group also. And today we have a podcast about the younger generation. If you could please introduce yourself.
So my name is Anastasia Pawlik, and I'm a student at the Gymnasium in Baden-Baden.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What is your opinion, your impression, your opinion about the mindset of your generation? Also, which are the major aspirations, hopes, fears, ideals, and so on?
Yeah, so I think my generation is like, so what they're afraid of maybe is the war that's going on maybe right now. And I think through social media, a lot has changed in the mindset. So a lot much harsher and much more specific ideals, maybe the way we have to look maybe, and a certain lifestyle that's like brought across to us through social media. And I think a lot of people have a wrong, like a false or over idealistic vision about the future. And yeah.
What are the major elements of this lifestyle? Which kind of lifestyle is this has to be achieved, is looked for?
I think, especially because of social media, we see all this perfect and ideal lives without any negative like facets. I think it's a lot about money and luxurious lifestyle. Everybody's imagining this for themselves, but on the other side, don't really want to work. So I think everybody's becoming a bit lazy, or I don't know if you can really call it lazy, but it's also because of our concentration span is getting like smaller and smaller, and I think not a lot of people are willing or wanting to really work anymore, but still want to live the good life as it's portrayed on social media. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What are the major aspirations of this generation?
I think it's also a lot about like this lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think there are two sides, like two groups that are splitting with aspirations. I think like on the one side we have like the people that want to have this luxurious lifestyle, but there aren't really a lot of aspirations anymore, I feel like. So no one really has these great ambitions anymore because they're living so much on social media and living in the past and the future. And I don't know, it's like no one really wants to do anything anymore, and more people are quitting school and don't want to study, and and I think that has a lot to do with social media and the phones and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're doing the social media, for instance, when people, let's say 15 to 20, 25, are doing their social media, and they're looking to sort of be perfect, if we can use that terminology. I mean, perfect in what way? Is it like physically perfect, to look good? Is it to dress good? Is it to be able to say, I drive a Mercedes, for instance? Or, I mean, what is this perfection?
Yeah, there's, I think, a lot of perfectionism in our generation because of social media, because what we see on there. And I think it's a lot about looks and the way your life looks to other people, to the outside world. And it's a lot about that, like being liked by others, I think. But I don't know if that's just our generation, or I think this always has been a great aspect. And for social media, especially, like, girls are sensitive for that, to falling into such trap. I don't know, I today had it previously in my psychology class that the, I don't know, depression rate, anxiety rate, and eating disorder rate everything is increasing by a percentage, which is a very, very big problem. And I think this is very much because of social media, because of the phones in general, because like small children are already getting like phones and watching TV all the time, and parents don't really look after that anymore. So yeah, I think that's a big problem.
Mhm.
And if they don't, they're looking for this perfection, and let's say they don't get this perfection, do you feel that they isolate themselves more?
Yes, I do think that there is a lot of isolation because I can talk from my own experience, because I experienced it too, like as well, the perfectionism, you know, the drive of being perfect, and especially through puberty the last few years. And I think a lot of people, my generation or young people, aren't able to see through that just yet. Maybe it will come when they grow older. But luckily for myself, I was able to detach from this perfectionism, because it's really, really like dragging you down, because there is no, I don't think there is such a thing as perfection, like perfectionism. So it's not there, you can't reach it. So that's is being really hard on people, I think, especially on, like, because of what you see on social media, that because it looks like that it exists, but in reality it doesn't. So I think we're putting pressure on everybody to want it to be perfect.
And so when you're in your school, let's say you've separated yourself, let's say you've pulled yourself out of this area, how is your relationship with other kids at your school or other people in your group? Do they sort of still communicate with you, or is that also going?
You mean communication in general?
Yes.
In real life? No, I don't think there's isolation in that domain. I think everybody's still connected in real life. So at least in my groups in my school, we're still going out every day and connecting in real life. So I don't think that's like there's that much isolation going on.
Mhm. What do people are speaking about?
You mean in my groups now?
Ja,
or-
genau.
I don't know, really every kind of things. So in my group of my friends, I think we're already very like self-aware of these problems, and like the type of things like social media and everything. And but I feel like this is just specifically my group. I think a lot of other people aren't really aware of that and just going with life, like partying maybe, and these kind of things, like not really serious things. So yeah, these kind of things.
I mean, do you think like the groups, I mean, it seems like, there seems to be smaller groups of your generation getting together, let's say, like where used to be 100 or 200 people associating with each other. Now there seems to be a lot of times groups of 10 or 15 that associate, and they sort of keep themselves away from other groups. Is that right, or is that wrong?
I think that's definitely right. I see it in school. every day, because in my class, in my grade, we have like these 2 or 3 huge groups of like 20 people maybe that are in their group and don't like really talk with the other groups or interact with the other groups. So, and they go out alone at night, and I mean, they probably do get to meet new people when they go out, but they pretty much stay in their group and don't really interact with the other groups that like formed. So yeah, I think that's right.
As regards the discussions in older generations, the now prevalent discussions about urgent problems, let's call them urgent problems of today, speaking about democracy, about citizenship related to being democratic, is there any interest in this groups or just nothing?
No, I do think there's some interest, definitely, because it like regards us. Because also the future depends on us, how everything like develops, and we are aware of that. And we also talk about democracy, I think, but it's not the most urgent topic in our conversations. But I think we talk a lot about, especially our politics in Germany, so that we're not very happy with it or criticizing it a lot, because I don't know, they're not doing the decisions we would like them to make maybe, and we're also very aware of that because we're also scared because of the war, and everybody's, I think, scared now that there will be World War II, 3 maybe, and yeah, so we definitely talk about this sometimes, yes.
So what's the most urgent topic to you?
To me right now, regarding politics, or?
No, let's just talk about, let's say you're getting together. We know that we've stated that people worry about war, people feel isolated, people that, but what if someone was to come to say, what's the thing we really have to deal with the most right now? What's the most urgent topic you feel you have to deal with?
I think it's our society or generation, how like everything is kind of falling apart, I feel like. So that we see it in Germany, that everybody's kind of unhappy, you know, the mental disorders and everything is increasing, and I think that's a major problem, because it's not really, maybe it has to do with the politics and everything, but I really think it's the phones that are like creating all these mental disorders and issues, and I think that's a really big problem. I also talk about this with my friends, and personally I already like deleted some social media apps already, because I found for myself that they do only harm to my mental health, because I already went through that, and so did my friends. And yes, I think there's going on a lot of unhappiness in our generation, but not a lot of people talk about this openly, I think, because they just maybe like isolating themselves or be ashamed of it. But in reality, like everybody's dealing with those problems now, as we talked about earlier, the perfectionism and everything, and everybody wants to come across as like perfect and extroverted, but I think there's going on a lot of unhappiness with themselves and also with the world.
I mean, are there any positive things?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, it's like those maybe less relevant topics, you would say, like about the world. Maybe it's just those little talks, you know, not that serious. So maybe I talk about with my friends a lot about maybe what we want to do right now after our Abitur, so after our graduation, where we want to go, maybe where we want to move, and or study. Those are things we're talking about right now. So my friends and I, because we're about to graduate and making plans for the future and everything. So that's positive. Thanks.
So you feel positive about the future?
Yeah, I think there are two sides, because on the one side you worry about what might happen now, because the conflicts are escalating and everything, and I was really happy with the politics in the whole world right now. But you're also trying to like keep your head up and still make plans for your future that you want to like fulfill, because you still have to move on with your life, regardless of what's happening right
What
now.
would be a good life for you? It's a very difficult question, but from the background of what you outlined, if you could make a short sketch, like an ideal space of a good life for you, how a good life, a satisfactory good life could look for you.
You mean like mentally or
In general.
materialistic? Okay, so for me, a good life, I think, would be that I'm secure, like financially secure and politically secure, like no really in a war area. And I don't know, I'm also thinking of like moving abroad maybe in the future, or studying abroad, because I would like to get around a lot and see a lot of the world, maybe as long as it's still possible, because of course there's climate change, and maybe some things I won't even be able to travel to anymore, and a lot of harsher regulations. So yeah, I would like to move in a more warmer country maybe, and yeah, financially security, and with a good partner by my side, and healthy family, helping myself, and yeah, the living situation and everything, and still like contact to my friends and my families. So yeah.
Okay.
I mean, do you think that collective consciousness has been something that's a very large topic over time? And collective consciousness is, for instance, where people get together, or groups get together, where people think the same thing, and they live in their community or their society or their city, and they feel that there's common bonds, if I could sort of use that sort of word. Do you think your generation still has a collective consciousness, or are they looking for a new way to express their collective consciousness?
Can you like maybe a little bit clarify a bit more what you mean by collective?
Collective consciousness is, let's say, the concept that you're part of a community, you have a self-value, you look at yourself as having a self, and you talk to other people in the world around you, in your community, in your society. You do events with those people. You get together those people, and you share thoughts, and you have common ideas. Not that they're all the same, or you don't have disagreements, but you sort of have these areas of commonality where you can sort of express yourself away from the internet, let's say talking from people to people, creating a dialogue.
Yeah, I think there still is a collective consciousness, like throughout our generation. I don't think like that there are like isolations, or that you're only able to communicate in your group, or that there are only like collective consciousness. I think there's still a common ground in our generation where you can communicate with each other and be on the same wavelength, because we still inform about topics, like the same topics, and I still think the same way. It's not that you're being that influenced by your own bubble. So there still is a collective consciousness, I think.
Now this common ground could look like in a positive, imagined way. Also in the imagined way means how we want to live. Is there some common basic understanding in a positive sense? No? In this direction of a collective consciousness. Also this implies common ground, some shared basic understandings, and some shared essential values. No? So we want to live according to these values.
Yeah, I think there still are like share values, like maybe, as I said, the health and the security.
Mhm.
And, you know, I think everybody wants to live the good life, obviously. And so there's still the same, like, imaginations about the future that we share. And yes, what kind of values do you think of?
Values, for instance, values like friendship, values like mutual assistance, values like a certain sociality to be lived. A value could be to live in a community of people, also with closer relationships and not being confined only to your family, also to your core group, but to expand a little bit. For instance, this could be values, no? Or to protect the environment, to live a more, let's say, a way of life that is more a natural way of life, also as an aspiration. An aspiration is also a value in this direction.
Yeah, I think maybe the thoughts about living together are a bit changing, because it's more like being queer is maybe more normalized, and these type of relationships and living together, and also that the woman is now more independent. And I think there are quite some more people of my age that aren't thinking of getting children, maybe, or women that first want to make career. And then I see this in my family as well, so that the woman first want to make career and then maybe think of children, even if so. And I think also a point is marriage, that marriage is getting like more and more unimportant to some people. And yes, I think that's something.
Okay.
Yeah, so you live in a normal family unit. You have a father, you have a mother, and I think you have some siblings. You have a brother, I think, right? So therefore, when you're in that unit, do you see that unit as the unit that you would want to be in, let's say in 10 or 20 years, when you find a partner, or you do get married, or you get in a relationship? Do you see the dynamic being the same, or do you think that'll change a little bit?
I definitely see myself in such family, but well, I'm still like not really sure about getting children at all in the future, because I also think it's like a huge responsibility, and I don't know if I want to set a child into this world for their sake because of everything that's going on lately. I don't know if it would be the right thing for them even, and but I would definitely see myself in such a community, and I think it's still pervasive for other people as well. So I think that won't change that much. But as I already said, it's like more normalized, and speaking openly about like this other forms of relationships.
Interesting. So let's say you brought up a few times, like, you know, the people around you talk about, you know, the political situations around the world, for instance, the wars that are going on. And I think it sort of sounds like also the people in your age group are not really super convinced that the government's doing exactly what they should be doing. If you were to say to the government, this is what we need, what would the things you need be?
Oh, that's a difficult question, but I think people are just in general unhappy with the whole world's politics, I think, and everybody's not sure about if they're right now doing the right thing, because everybody's like a little like confused in general because of the war and the situation with inflation we see everywhere, and everything's getting more expensive, and nobody's earning more money on the other way. And yeah, I think especially for me, it was like I didn't really know who to even vote for, because no one really covered all my like needs and like things I would imagine for a good policy for a country. And so I couldn't say for myself that I would have been happy with any party winning. So I think another thing that is very scary is the extremism. So that so many people voted for a party that's like extremistic and racist maybe, and I don't know, I think that's really scary, and that's what people are scared of a lot. And yeah, I think a lot of people are, when I think of politics right now, is also the immigration. So speaking of our country right now, because I think the opinion about this is a little split, even in my generation, and yeah, because it's quite a problem because of border controls and how we want to like handle the situation. Because as we see in America, there was huge deportations, and some people like agree with this, some people don't, and I think there's so much like a division in our country right now. Also because we see that the one party got so many votes. I think that's a lot because people are scared right now, and nobody really knows what's the right thing, or no one really has an idea of doing the right thing. And I still think our politics, our chancellor is trying his best to cover the needs of the majority, and but I don't think it's enough. I think it's such a great division, almost like in half, so that you can really do the right thing right now anymore. And yeah, I think it's also very being afraid, because as we see the military Wehrpflicht.
Wehrpflicht. Wehrpflicht. You have to go to the army.
Yeah.
There is
Well,
mandatory.
Mandatory boys and let's say 18 have to be drafted into the
Yeah.
army for a year or two period. That's
Yeah.
being thought of right now. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we also see that Germany wants to incorporate this for women as well.
Ah.
But it's like not sure right now, but we have to think about this now, because everybody's scared of a war because of an escalation. So that's, I think, what's being thought of a lot lately, especially like for women. We don't want to go like to the army maybe and fight, but yeah, that's I think a huge thing right now.
When we try to summarize what you said so far, to complete this picture, what is the greatest fear of your generation?
I think up until like a few years before the war escalations, it was climate change very much in the foreground. And it's still there, definitely, but since there is so much war, especially since lately, between like in the Middle East, I think that's now what's in the foreground, because of the things with China and Iran, and China and Iran, like Russia and Iran, and the USA. That's like also trying to like wanting to have a part in this, and maybe should rather stay out. So everybody fears that this will escalate soon, especially if like in our country, if Germany also takes part in this and like is sending weapons to anyone that we will be attacked, and also that we have the NATO, and because it's like if one country of the NATO is being attacked, the others are dragged into it. So I think that's when a new world war will escalate. And I think that's a huge fear right now. Yeah.
What is your biggest hope of your generation?
So I think it is like the opposite of the fear of the war is, I think, peace. Everybody wants like a peaceful life, a peaceful world to live in, so that everybody is getting along with each other and maybe sharing cultures, sharing values, and getting around in the world and getting to know different cultures, different countries, and just interacting globally. And also that we can focus on maybe slowing down the climate change, so that we can focus on this again, but we can only do that if there's peace. So I think that's, I think we just hope that that the politicians do the right thing and try to continue with diplomacy and not with aggression. And I think we just hope that they will do the right thing in that.
If we can move on to another very quickly. In the generation, let's say 15 to 25, the area you're in, a lot of you live in villages and towns and bigger cities. And do you feel that there's this desire in youth to move away from the city and move back into nature?
So I don't know if that counts for the whole generation, but it counts for me that maybe only I hear this in a lot of people my age, that they only want to move for studying in a big city because there you have great studying opportunities, great like universities. But after that, I hear a lot that they want to move out into a small village again. And so the same thing counts for me, maybe for studying in a big city, but then after that, living a little away from the city, but not like that far, so that you still have good access to the city life and everything. But personally, I think it's just too overwhelming, these huge cities, and it's so disconnected. Like everybody's just like isolated, and I don't know, nobody knows anyone. And I think in a village, it's more like much more harmonic, so you greet everybody and it's much more quieter, so much more better for your soul. I don't know how to really explain it, but it's much healthier, I feel like.
It's the hope for community in one word. No? Okay. What about nature? To come back to Grant's question, is there in your generation, is there a tendency as a back to nature in the context of avoiding the big cities with the alienation and other side effects? Is there a tendency or not? Or it's just just a tendency to live in a community, in a village where life is more overseeable and more settled in social terms?
I think like up until now, everybody is pretty disconnected from nature, and I don't really hear it from my generation that much that people want to reconnect with nature. I don't think that's actually happening right now, but you see a bit more on social media. So there are some more influencers that came up lately, the past few years, that want to bring people back to nature, that urge them to come back to nature. And I think that's a good thing. And I'm trying to do that as well. I see in my friends, they go for walks in nature and want to do this, but I don't think that counts for everyone or the majority. I don't think that people are seeking to reconnect with nature that much.
Okay.
Is there anything else that you think is relevant that you'd like to talk about?
No, I think we covered everything. So I think the most important thing is, for me right now, the social media aspect, that this is a huge problem. Also for small children, I think, because the phones and everything, that's really a negative development in our society, I think.
Mhm.
So I would think we would like, on behalf of Ideal Spaces and Ulrich Gehman and myself, to thank Anastasia for coming today, and thank you for your input. And hopefully your thoughts will influence people.
Yes, thank you too for having me.
Thank you, Anastasia.